What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a look at cyberknights Flashpoint, an upcoming indie TRPG from the Treese brothers, who are bringing a demo of this game to Steam Next Fest, which kicks off on the 19th, I believe, so just a couple days from now, which they were kind enough to provide me a little bit early so I could bring you this video, though on the 19th you should be able to check this out for yourself. Cyberknights Flashpoint is going to be a TRPG focused around pulling off cyberpunk heists, reminiscent of how it worked in the TTRPGs of the cyberpunk genre, with a few interesting elements added in. That said, I do want to mention that the demo itself is a bit limited, and everything on offer here isn't everything that will be available in the game's full release, and it's my understanding they are planning on an early access launch here in a few months. But nonetheless, the demo is a good snapshot of some of the stuff they have in mind, though right out of the gate we can only pick one of a few different pre-generated characters before we set off on the game's only available origin. Now, the origin is pretty interesting because it appears to be the sort of basis of the story that you'll be playing through. Only one is available in the demo, but there are three just that are shown to us, and each of them provides a bit of a story scenario that sets up what is going on. And so for the one we have to play through, Syndicate Debts, the few missions we can play have direct relation to exactly that, us trying to pay off this debt we got ourselves into, which leads me to believe that the overarching story for this game might actually be set by you using this origin system if I'm understanding it correctly, which could certainly be an interesting take. And while the game throws you directly into a mission, before we talk about that, there's actually something else the game does that I find really cool, and that is giving you the ability to use your connections and influence to potentially change how a mission plays out beforehand. You'll get the option to send members of your mercenary team on legwork missions, which are really just events you can undertake from your main base. However, if they are successful, they'll usually give you a benefit that can then help you out on the associated mission. From our own base, we can see that there will be a sort of base management aspect to it, though none of that was really available in the demo. And from here, we can either pass time or actually go on missions. Passing time can lead you to handling the various legwork missions you sent people on, or popping up new events that will provide new opportunities. Though another important thing to keep in mind is that your ability to do certain missions is on a bit of a day counter. That is to say, you have so long before you have to either pull off this job or let it pass you by. But from the mission select screen here, we can see that participating in a mission will reward us with a variety of things, such as increased relationship with the client it is for, alongside regular rewards and extra rewards for completing certain side tasks. And while not a big focus of the demo, they also do mention that the characters on your mercenary team will form relationships with each other, either positive or negative, that can also be based off of various events or things that happen in a mission. And while that's all well and good, let's actually talk about the combat of this game. As this is a TRPG, we are working with a turn-based tactics system, and this particular game uses an action point system. Our characters have 6 action points that they can spend on either moving and attacking, activating abilities, just attacking, etc. It's really up to you, and the game utilizes cover as well. Though, speaking of cover, the game has a pretty robust line of sight system, as stealth can play a pretty big part of combat. Most enemies in an area, if they are unaware of your presence, have a patrol route, or just generally do whatever it is they happen to be doing, and this will allow you, if you work on it, to take characters out silently if you have weapons that can do that, or you can immediately go in guns blazing. If you choose to take the stealth route, you have to watch out for things like cameras as well as motion sensors, which can set off various alarms. Both engaging in combat as well as triggering alarms raises your security level, though it will increase a little bit passively every turn. When the security level starts going up levels, it summons in more enemies and generally makes your job harder. But as this is a heist-oriented game, a lot of what you can do here is infiltrating your way in, completing your objectives, and then trying to get out, ideally with as little fuss as possible. Alongside things like just line of sight and engaging enemies in combat, you do have to be aware of the sound you are making, as enemies will come investigate strange sounds, but this does lead to fun abilities that will allow you to distract guards, such as the lure ability or abilities that shut down cameras or motion sensors, and each class they give you in the demo has something of that nature to play around with. And that's before we even start talking about things like items, which give you even further tactical options. But that said, the demo is, as I mentioned, a little bit limited in what it can offer you right now. It's also a little buggy, as my characters had trouble getting over certain low walls, alongside the enemy AI not really being where it needs to be for a game like this to feel compelling. But that said, if they can bring all of these systems to a final stage, that is to say something a bit more polished and fleshed out with all of the systems in place, I think there's a lot of potential here for a really fun CRPG, which is naturally why I'm making a video on it. Which means when it launches into early access, which they tell me will have all of the strategy layers added with heist planning, underworld networking, faction reputation, improved enemy variety, enemy AI, alongside 8 classes that will allow you to multi-class even, which I think will be interesting. So when it hits early access, I'll probably take another look at it just to see how things have come along, but I do think there's a lot of potential here, even if the demo is a bit limited. That said, that's everything I've got for you guys today. I certainly hope you enjoyed this look at Cyberknights Flashpoint. Again, you can check the demo out for yourself here in a couple days, but regardless of all that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.